Hey everyone, it's Aaron from Autofit Birmingham, and today I'm doing a review on this lovely little red number, so let's get to it. So I'm going to start off at the front of the car and the bits that I personally like. You can tell it's been facelifted because this is the 2018 model, and I've got to say the 500s have always had it, no matter who's driving it. They've always got that cute little front end that I think everybody loves. I think if you don't like the Fiat 500, secretly I think you do. How can you not like that pretty face? What an absolute gorgeous smile it's got. And you can tell by the lights as well that they've updated it with this new triangular halogen lights that they've got here, and the lights going around the top of the indicator. They've kind of kept the old style, just adding a little bit of new. So when we come to the back of the car, you can see there's not really much changed apart from the lights. You see it's got the new design lights on the back. The boot is quite small on this, but if you're one person on your own doing a bit of shopping around town, local small car, it's definitely perfect for that use. But anything else, you definitely have to put the back seats down to put anything else in there. Right, so under the bonnet of this little Fiat 500, we've got the old 1.2 engine powering it. And I say old, the reason being, I've seen this engine, I think, be around for the past maybe 20 years. And I suppose if something's not broken, why fix it? Also, it's a very, very reliable engine. It's simple to work on. Cost-wise, you might be buying a new car, but the technology under the bonnet is very old. But I suppose that's kind of where they keep their reliability. You know, you've got the simple time about on there, simple engine to service, everything's simple, parts haven't changed. Cost-wise, service-wise, realistically, it should never really go up, it should always be the same. But definitely a nice little engine under here. Not the most powerful, but if you want something that looks cool and reliable, definitely the engine to go for. So I'm inside the Fiat 500, and I gotta say it's absolutely lovely in here. We've got the red dash with the cute little buttons all over the place. They've got this new stereo system that they've put in here, which I think is a nice touch. That red though, going across the dash, it's just lovely. It just gives it kind of like that city car feel, like something small. And the thing you've got to remember with the Fiat 500s, and of course the Minis as well, they were never meant to be, you know, like hardcore cars. They were like fashion statements. You know, they were, you know, it's a reliable car, it's fashionable, it looks the part, and it's small. I mean, if you live on a road like mine where there's no parking, you know, small cars are like a godsend. You can get into the small gaps. But you know, if you just going around town, shopping here, shopping there, what a great little car to have. And the interior, I love the way they've got the 500 stitched into the seat there, and the red little headrest, and the seats are really comfortable as well. Don't get me wrong, you haven't got all the space in the world, but at the end of the day, if you've gone out to buy a small car, you are going to end up with a small car. You know, you're not going to have a Rolls Royce on the inside. One thing I do like as well, even though the steering's really light when you're driving, as most people know that own a Fiat, you've also got the power city button as well. So you can press that to help you get around town. I think they call it city driving, where the steering wheel gets even lighter for parallel parking and going around town. The only thing I don't like is they've put 5 gears in this, where I really feel as though it could have done with 6. I think maybe that's something Fiat need to look into. Maybe even, you know, put a slightly bigger engine in there. Maybe, you know, I'm not sure, but a lot of them, even I know the 1 litre turbo does have. Not the above, they do a 1 litre air turbo, and that has 6 gears. So I think if that could have 6 gears, they could have definitely put it into here as well. You can tell with they've kind of cut corners in certain places, but the thing is, the car's so pretty and it's so cool, you don't really care about things like that. I just think it's an awesome place to be in, a nice little family car, and I've enjoyed driving it, and I'm sure if you had one, you would too. So for my first impressions on the flat road, it's definitely smooth, very smooth, small car to drive. You know, I'm just gonna get it out of here. The steering is very precise, and it's very, very, very light, the steering wheel. So I've not even touched the city button, which obviously makes the steering a lot lighter as well. It kind of feels as though you are in a tiny little go-kart. But it's definitely nice to drive. You know, the steering, yeah, steering's very light and very precise, and you know, wherever I point it to, it is going to. There's no like kind of you know, sometimes you drive some of the smaller cars and it's like you've got to turn the steering for ages to kind of get to where you want to turn to, but there's none of that. Everything's nice and precise. And I like the fact that it's telling me when to shift to get the best fuel efficiency. Also, what I don't like as well is this car's got start-stop, and I just think on a small car like this, what an absolute waste of time. You know, what were they thinking really, putting start-stop on a small little 1.2 Fiat 500? I mean, how much money are you meant to save really? You know, yeah, I just think it was a bad idea putting stop-start on such a tiny car. You know, I suppose if that's your thing, you can always get in the car and switch it off anyway. But anyway, let's get back to how the car drives. I've got to say, I feel like I'm in quite a high position with the seating. The car's on a level road and it just feels really nice to drive. You know, I wanted to get in and be like, oh, it's a Fiat and all that, but I'm not gonna lie, I've always loved the Fiat 500s. I love the Abarth 500, I love the Abarth 500 595C. I just think they're cool cars. I mean, people take cars too seriously. Like, oh, you know, it hasn't got this and it hasn't got that space and it has got this, but for me, a car is always something like personal to yourself. It's like an extension to yourself, you know. And I think it's just a nice little car to have. I mean, it drives really nice. Again, another thing that I don't like is the fact that it's got the it's only got 5 gears, where I feel as though they could have done with having 6. But I suppose again, it's not the fastest car in the world, and underneath the technology on this car is from like back in the day. I'm talking like back in the 80s. Maybe, I think it might have first started in the Fiat Uno. If I might be wrong, but I'm sure it come from the Uno this engine did. The one thing I do like about this engine is it's a non-contact engine. Now what that means is after every 50 or 60,000 miles on this engine, you need to replace the timing belt and the water pump. Now when you don't, with most cars, and the timing belt snaps, your engine is finito, it's finished. You know, you can have valve damage, piston damage, you have to have the head stripped and go for a load of palaver, all for you not maintaining the car properly and changing the timing belt. But with this engine being a non-contact engine, when the timing belt breaks, there's no damage because the valves and pistons don't meet. So all you do is you reset the timing, put another belt on, Bob's your uncle, and you're back on the road again. Obviously, I'm not saying wait until it breaks, because you don't want to be out somewhere and all of a sudden the belt breaks and, you know, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's not an expensive job to do in this. So stick to the regular maintenance, get it done, and you'll be alright. Also, with being a smaller engine as well, what I advise to anybody that owns a smaller engine is have the oil change frequently, because if you're carrying weight in the car, or you're just doing a lot of short journeys, because a lot of people that buy smaller cars are only doing small journeys. They're not going to London and London to Scotland to Birmingham, and you know, they're not doing all them big journeys. So you need to kind of look after the car, so change the oil more regular. Forget about what the dealers say, you know, 12,000 miles, 10,000 miles, that's too much for oil. That is way too much for oil to be in the car. You know, that's just my personal opinion. If this is my car, I'd change the oil every 5 to 6,000 miles to keep it running sweet. I've got to say, there's no rattle at all, there's no bumps, the car just drives nice and smooth, and I'm starting to really like this light they've got going on. And it's not the most powerful engine in the world, but like I said again, if you're just bobbing around from here to there and, you know, picking up this, doing a bit of shopping, it's definitely a nice little car to have. And I like how you've got the little window switches down here. They're really cool and plasticky. And even the gearbox feels nice and tight, but I suppose this car's only done 919 miles. So it's gonna feel like brand new, because it is brand new really. But definitely a nice car to drive. Would I ever own one? Well, I suppose that's $1 million question really. I think I actually would, but I wouldn't have the Fiat 500. I'd have the Abarth 500, because I just think that it's a cool looking car. You've got the 1.4 turbo engine in there. Obviously it all comes in the same pedigree as the 500, the same style, you know, a lot of the inside stuff are going to be the same. But and every time I talk to people about the Fiat 500, it's either like one way or the other. There's never really like because either the car switched off now because of that start stop. I just think it's completely unnecessary on this car. But anyway, it is a step to the future. So, and everybody's putting it on their car. So I suppose why should Fiat put it on the 500 as well? Yeah, like I was saying, the 500 will be from the same bloodline of this car, and it's also just a very, you know, very nice car to drive, to be in. It's very quiet. And when you look at when you actually look around the car, under the bonnet, there's no soundproofing, there's no cover underneath, and even if you look at the back of the chassis, it's kind of half painted and half still kind of like a yellowy grey colour, where if you haven't been kind of like not been bothered to paint the full shell. But even though you've got no soundproofing or whatever, and there's not all that quality with the shell and the soundproofing, it's still really quiet. So that tells me that you've got a really good engine under the bonnet. You know, it's not making loads of noise and doing stuff like that. There's no knocking or banging. Just a nice little car to drive around, especially if you've got to constantly park in small places. If you work in a city centre or you work in a car park where there's not a lot of space for your car, definitely a nice car just to go around town in. I suppose that's why they do call it a little city car, don't they? So I like how all the buttons are kind of like here at arm's length as well. Nothing kind of I've got to be in an awkward position to reach out to get at. That's really annoying me now, the start stop, because all I'm doing is going backwards and forwards in traffic, and it's switching off, starting off, switching off and starting off. But also we've got the auxiliary down here and the USB. We've got the charger where you can charge your phone down there. Some of these actually do come with the Beat speakers. This one hasn't got it, but some of them do actually have the Interscope Beat speakers in there. It depends on the model. I think if you buy the Plus, the 500 Plus, which is the bigger one, that does come with the Beat speakers. I suppose it just depends how far you want to go with the car, really, because you can have the convertible one, you can have one with a glass roof. There is an automatic one as well, and what I really like about the automatic one is it kind of reminds me of like an old Ferrari 360, where you kind of push the button down to put it into gear, or a bit like an Aston Martin where you push the button down on the control panel to put it into gear, which I quite like. And I think having it in like a small little car is quite nice. But overall, I'm coming to the end of my journey, and you know, it feels nice driving this car. It's a nice place to be in. If you're considering buying one, I'd say buy one and get one that has a nice trim like this, because they don't all come with the trim this nice, unless it's on, I think, only on the 2018 newer ones like this one. But I really like the trim. I think they put a lot of style, time and effort into the trim to make you feel like, you know, you're driving something nice. I also like the clock as well in the middle. It kind of reminds me of the old mini clock that they used to have on the old minis in the centre of the dash. But if you're looking for a stylish, small, fashion icon of a car, you know, a car that doesn't take itself too seriously but looks the part and is reliable, the Fiat 500 is definitely the one for you. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed our small review and on our small little red car. If you think about buying one, you know, and it's your first car, what a great car to have. It's reliable, parts are cheap, tyres are cheap, especially when you haven't got the alloy wheels that this one has them. And it drives remarkable. I mean, if you've never driven one, I encourage you to please go out and drive one, because it drives amazing for a small car. You kind of forget that you're driving a small car. But anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I am looking forward to presenting our other videos to you too. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Aaron from Autofit Birmingham. Don't forget you can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You'll also see what I've been up to on Aaron at Autofit on Instagram. I hope you all have a good day. I'm Aaron from Autofit Birmingham. We've been the garage to you.